So it's good that I introduce you and take a small break to catch up. Okay. So welcome, Krishnan. You can share your screen. Okay. You can share your screen. Your session starts in a couple of minutes. So that you can give a good introduction of yourself and your organization. Okay. And also give an example how we adding value to you, being one of the prestigious client of our product. Okay, so you can give our experience also. Okay, yeah, Krishnan, please, you can share your screen and then go ahead with the introduction, please.
Yeah.
Please feel free to give questions. I know we have a limitation here for asking questions. Just raise your hand in the screen. So we unlock your mic so that you can ask. Okay, and then also if there is any questions, Deep, please summarize and send it to us in YouTube channel and Facebook channels. Okay, so yes, Krishnanji, please share your screen and start proceeding. You can give a quick introduction from your side.
Yeah. 1 second. Where is the screen share one?
Screen share is in the bottom, in the middle, actually. So there is a share.
Okay. Fine.
That is there, and then you can work. Okay, so that people can just look at it and come back to you.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Please go ahead. Please go.
Yeah. Okay. So good afternoon to all. Ms. Krishnan. And actually, I work for a firm called who are actually
Indelops. Yeah.
3PL operator, and so I work as a 3PL head. We have a couple of verticals. One is a 3PL and another one is a CHA side, the customers clearing. So I had the 3PL side. And today, and actually there is a brief introduction already given in the introduction from Mr. Khadar already. But still I will explain that I have been working in this field for last 25 years. And out of that, about 18 years, I worked abroad in the oil and gas sector in the material side. So I worked pretty much in Africa, Europe, and Middle East, all those countries. So after coming back to India, so I have been working in this 3PL part since 2016. So when I come to talk about, I have been asked to talk about given a subject like warehouse management, best practices in 3PL operations. So I'll just go ahead with my screen. So this is a practitioner's approach. So actually, who is actually practicing 3PL, and so it is a view from how we are seeing this entire supply chain from our point of view. So if you see the agenda is given like warehouse management overview and the processes, the 3PL processes in an Indian industry perspective. So we will talk about that in detail, and how WMS, which we have been doing with Data Labs recently, and how we have gained to benefit from their involvement. So we'll talk about that. So this basically is a warehouse management process. So I mean, this doesn't need any introduction. So this is basically what happens in a 3PL or any warehouse for that matter. So you have inward material coming, you are putting away, then you do your stock updations, then you are picking it up, then you are packing and you are dispatching. So this is a very typical inward and outward operation happens in a warehouse. Okay. So not only that, basically a 3PL warehouse, here the focus is on that. Then there are the processes. So when you cut down those processes or you make it into smaller pieces, then you will see all these processes. So this is also nothing new or doesn't need any kind of special introduction to overall listening, because you're all well versed in it, even though you are not. So there are certain things like, you have a gate in concept, then you are receiving the goods, then you are inspecting it. So the inspection is different in a manufacturing setup. An inspection is a very critical process. But in a 3PL environment, the inspection is a peripheral inspection and it is a primary inspection. It doesn't involve too much of inspecting, because inspecting means you can quality check will come under inspections. So in a 3PL environment, quality check may not happen at all, apart from the package conditions and the number of items, number of boxes you receive. So there is nothing. But in a manufacturing setup, that will be an entire different approach, and a different importance comes to it. Then you have cross docking and put away, and then once it is put away, then after that put away part, there are certain processes of which I will show you in the next slide. And then you have got that order processing, and then once the order is processed, then you start picking it up, and then you do a kitting if it is required, packing, and then packing can be a different kind of packing. There are many ways of packing. You do a repacking, you do a palletization, you do a cold packing. So there are many ways of it. So if you go into it, then that itself will be a complete hour discussion. So this is roughly going through it. Then you have the final documentation. So this basically consists of a normal process in a warehouse 3PL setup. Now, when I come again, the processes I have just put some additional things here, because compared to the earlier slide, where you have a gate in, goods receiving, inspection, quarantine, cross docking, and put away, which is when you are inverting the items. Then you have an outward processes when you are order processing, picking, kitting, packing, documentation, and integration. In between, when the material is there in the warehouse, so what happens at that time? Can it be kept just like that, or do we have any activity to be done on those things? So some of the items like daily cycle count, this is essential in any warehouse, irrespective of whether it is a 3PL or it is a manufacturing, anywhere, because we all know at the end of the year when the auditor comes, then only the frantic activity happens to trace things, where things have happened last year, or where it has been delivered, where it has come back, what has been returned, what has been resent. All those things starts. You might have seen in the there is finger pointing and all those things happens. So something like a daily cycle count is a very essential activity. Then the arrangement of stock, where the storage space is used to the optimum, because in many warehouses we can see that the haphazard arrangement can cause the space being underutilized, or it is not used like properly. So in a 3PL scenario, space is where we make money. So the space is money for us. A 3PL space is money. So if I am underutilizing my space, then I am losing money. Then the safe operations. So this is one of the crucial aspects of any warehouse management, because if we are operating safely, then that should be one of the criteria for judging or evaluating a customer, a vendor, partner, anybody. For example, in the oil and gas sector, which I worked 18 years, in the oil and gas sector, safety is of paramount importance. So if any customer has to come, they are going to look at my safe operations record and history in the first. If I have a incident, so that will dent my chances of getting a contract. But I doubt that in India this is really taken up very seriously or not, because we are not very known for very safety practices. We always say, yeah, this is chalta hai. That is our attitude. So whether that safe operations can be made more impactful, and the government regulations has to come into that place, that how safe I am operating, what are the safety mechanisms I have in place. Yeah, even just lifting an object, whether people are given, what are the equipments they have been given to assist them. So all those things come under that. But basically in India, I didn't see that much. This part is not given priority. Then the next part is the all industries follow some sort of standards. Basically, everybody uses the ISO standards. So those processes and procedures are followed or not. That is very critical, because if I am ISO certified, my processes also should follow that standards, and I should keep a record of it. As you all know, India is very poor in maintaining records. We don't maintain records. I mean, historically we were very poor about that, and that has to change. So how much record? So these standards are specifying, I have to keep these records for audits. So which comes to my next point. So I have audits. So if I come under a standard, then I have audits. So which is internal and which is external. So these are the points which comes in between these regular operations, and they have to be clearly followed, because in India, I don't know whether the outsourcing of logistic activity has been evolved to the full. It has not. It is just picking up the pace, but it is not completely reached its peak compared to Europe and US and other places. Probably there is a good amount of activity has already been streamlined in this line, but in India is still evolving. So therefore, but what I see in the market now is anybody who has got a land just builds up a warehouse and leases it out or runs by himself. So they all think that warehouse means basically a godown. So I see many of the customers still tells me that uses the term godown. So from a godown to a warehouse, it's a you have to travel a long way, because to convert a godown into a warehouse, you need a lot of things to be done, a lot of infrastructure to be built, a lot of automation to be done. So once all these processes are in place, then only it will effectively work as a warehouse. So that is still not happened in India. So, but I think we are on that, and I see the market is going in that direction. That new customers, Indian customers, are not much bothered. They are basically bothered about price. But we meet a lot of customers, for example, Japanese customers, customers from Singapore, customers from Germany, customers from Israel. So they are very, very particular about many smaller aspects, and their audit is much more detailed than an Indian firm. So therefore, the the evolution of this has to still happen, and then even a small warehouse has to adhere to certain conditions, so that the operations are safe, the efficiency is there, and involvement is there. So which comes to my next slide. So this is a 3PL processes from an Indian industry perspective. So this is here is where the which I was coming to, that how much we are prepared enough to accept as an industry, third party logistics as an industry, third party or a fourth party or fifth, these kind of logistic scenarios. So to consider a third party logistic simply as a provider and not as a partner, what will happen is that we are not considering, we are only saying that, okay, I am paying him for storage and that's it. He stores my material, and whenever I feel like, I take it out, or whenever my convenience is, I'll remove it. And his job is very limited to that extent. But as a responsible third party logistic partner, that is why I insisted the word partner to be used, because we want the third party industry want to partner with the customers and their vendors, their suppliers. The third party industry has a very active role to play here. So in a third party industry, third party warehouse, for example, in our warehouse, so my primary concern is a traceability issue. I mean, what am I receiving? What am I dispatching? What is coming in and what is going in? So when I contact a customer, so he doesn't release a lot of information to us. He gives very minimal information. So what material is coming to me? I don't have much of an idea, just a general statement. They'll say it's electronic goods. So what electronic goods is coming? I have no idea. And what is the storage? How do I store it? How do I handle it? So this information we have to again go back to the customer and say that what are these details? Especially an Indian customer doesn't share much. Most of the people look for a warehouse when they are hard pressed for some space. So there is no very much of planning goes in this part, but I think it is still happening. A lot of customers are taking a lot of time to approach a third party logistic partner, and many of the customers have joined with us and become a partner with us and understood that we can play a very important role in their activity as well. And they can forget about the warehouse storage and dispatches. So, the extension of their own, ERP facilities to us, integrating their ERP facilities with our WMS system. So those things are happening because the technology has progressed. Like data labs is progressing very much towards these lines. So these traceability. So in our warehouse, we want to trace an item. What has come into me and what has went out from me. How do I trace them? Because a third-party logistic provider accommodates all sorts of customers. So the product range is vast. I may be storing chemicals, I am storing automobile parts, I am storing fashion products, it is clothing line, it is chemicals, it is electronics, you name it, we have it there. We have school books, uniforms, solar products. So these are all existing in the same place. And some of them are identified with the serial numbers. Some of them identified with lot numbers. Some of them identified with the batch number. So at the same time, a 3PL have to accommodate all these things. And I need to identify what is where, when has come, when has gone. Even after a year, I should be able to tell, I mean, what has happened last January, what I received, what I dispatched. I should have a record of that. If I am able to do that, then to a great extent, we have succeeded in it. To a great extent. So from our customer, so in our WMS, we define it as, because we are nowhere in, we are just a party in the middle in the entire process of supply chain. So I am receiving from a supplier for my customer. So I am receiving, so my customer's supplier, I am receiving the material from my customer's supplier, and I am delivering it to my customer's customer. So customer is just, I am in contract with them for my services, but actually I am in contact with the customer supplier and customer's customer, because the last mile delivery or the B2B, B2B and B2C deliveries, we do that. But in that case, my customer is not at all in picture. So in that case, product knowledge is pretty crucial for me. And as a 3PL operator, we do conscious effort to learn about the product. So if a new customer comes, what actually they are storing, what it is used for, what are the features of those products, what are the storage, because it all boils down to the end, how am I storing, how am I handling. See, I cannot handle 200-liter drum and the same way I can handle some glass items. So they are different in nature, and the care I need to take to handle them are different as well. At the same time, if I am handling fashion products, so I have to have a dust-free environment. I have to create that environment for me, for the customer. So this about the product, I need to know very well. What are the handling equipment I require? So if I have to handle a 200-liter drum in a large quantity, what do I need? So this is what more than the customer, it is the 3PL partner who thinks about it, because he is the one who is actually physically handling all those things. So the product knowledge is very important, but as I said earlier, the customers are not willing to share these informations, but we penetrate them. We try to gather these information and act really as a partner to all these things. Now, going ahead, so when we collaborated with Data Labs for our WMS implementation, so we had a lot of thinking process went behind it, how that has to be done and how it will work. So one of them was, how the goods inwarding and outwarding will happen. So they have, we created something like a goods entry, which already was integrated in their program. But then we thought that how the goods entry will happen into any warehouse. So when I inwarding also goods and gate entry happens, one outwarding also gate entry happens, because this gate entry primarily means when the vehicle came in and delivered the goods and left the warehouse. So in that there is a gate entry inward and gate entry outward. Similarly, when an empty truck comes and picks up my cargo from a warehouse, then it comes as an empty truck. Again, I do a gate entry, and then again I do a outward entry with a filled truck. So this identification is something which we integrated in which was already there in the WMS software, which we identified very clearly. So our processes, the entire process of starts with these logic. Now, when I go ahead, so this is the warehouse management slide where it shows that how the gate entry happens. So we are able to track this information. What vehicle came in, when it came in, who brought this, from where it came in. So I will have a complete record of this throughout the year. Earlier, what we used to store this information in Excel has completely changed into WMS software, where the data safety is paramount importance. Now, going ahead, so in the employee task assignment, so this is something like as a best practice in 3PL. So we designed it such a way that a task has to be assigned. So we bifurcate the tasks. So in a routine day-to-day work, actually what happens? Okay. So how the tasks are assigned to whom depends on what that day's workload is, because some days could be a very heavy load will be there, some days it will not be there, and some things could be very urgent, some things are not so urgent. So how do we prioritize it, and what is the staff strength on that particular day? Because if I have less staff, then the workload will be more. If there is a more staff, then I have a little bit relaxation. So the tasks we decided that it will not be any staff specific. So whether it is A, B, C, anybody, it will not be staff specific. It could be assigned to anybody. So in this way, it was designed, and we decide that what time the task starts and what time it is a planned completion time. So this is decided by the warehouse head. He plans a completion time and assigns to the employee who completes it. And on the completion of it, he just presses a button that he completes it. So that is the time is recorded. So whether he was given 1 hour to complete it and he did it in 3 hours. So it shows his efficiency, how fast he was or how slow he was. Or there is a 1 hour job was assigned, he completes it in half an hour. So this is a indicator that how the employee is performing, and this is without intervention. Human intervention is not required. These are all recorded in this WMS software. Now going ahead, so this is one of the screenshots where the assignments are done. Who is doing the assigning and who it is assigned to, what is the planned start time, what is the planned completion time, and the actual completion time. So these are the things which is designed in this part. Now, okay, now when we bifurcate the employee tasks, for example, it is divided into inwarding and outwarding. So basically it is actually I'm receiving the goods, I'm dispatching the goods. In between, I'm storing the goods. So apart from these three actions, there is nothing beyond this or in between this. So if I break it up my inwarding, so what do I do is I receive the cargo, I unload it, and I do a quality check. And as I said, in a 3PL scenario, we have a very limited quality checks because many a case, we don't have to even open the packages. Or I have to receive the package and dispatch the package. So I may not be able to open the package at all. In that case, I'll just check the outer condition of the package, how I received it. And if there is an issue with that, sometimes it could be coming in a wet condition, a broken condition. So only in that case, I have to really contact the customer and give him an update. Otherwise, I just see, okay, I have to receive 10 boxes, which I need not open. So I say, I just received 10 boxes. That's all. Some cases I have to really open and see it, count the items. So accordingly, my checking goes up. So if I have to count, then I have to count how many actual physical products are there. So then correct quantity received comes in picture. So correct items are received because I don't want to receive an item which is not intended to me, and the right item according to the invoice. So this again, there is a complete checklist process is there, which actually is implemented through our WMS as well. So checklist is printed along with the put away document, and then all this gets filled up and given back. So at the put away time, I can have some kind of a labeling, because in a 3PL scenario, we get packages with a lot of labels. There will be at least 3 barcodes, some QR codes, everything will be there. But it is all of no use to me, because I never ordered those material. There is no purchase order with me. There is nothing. So from our side, probably we can label the product, and from that the automatic information can be picked up from by my WMS system, and record can be maintained. So this is again, probably a duplication, because my customer is already doing it. But the issue is, my customer may be using SAP as an ERP software, but I am using something else. In that case, unless it is properly integrated, the data cannot be picked up from one system to another. So this is, I think, most of the cases, this is what happens, because we don't get to see a lot of integration happening, because when we try to integrate, there may be a lot of issues may be happening. So those all have to be ironed out over a period of time, and it will not happen all of a sudden. It will take a lot of time before we get a very integrated systems running along. Okay. And so then there is a GRN process, then there is a report submission to the customer. So this we bifurcate this inwarding activity. Similarly, the outwarding activity also can be compiled as different tasks. So this is how we work in the WMS software. Now, here you can see that there is a put away, there is a repacking, picking, packing, and labeling. So these are all actually the tasks bifurcated. And now going ahead, actually, additionally to our normal activity, which is receiving and dispatching, we have tried to add something called an employee performance based on the tasks assigned. So now, anyway, I am assigning the task to the individual employee. So why not get a performance report out of this? Okay. So that was the idea. So this has come out from that idea. So how the employee has performed against the task he has been assigned. And once this is fully working, then we have to understand, resolve A, who he has worked today, what are the tasks assigned, whether he has done it within his time, or he has taken more time, or whether he performance parameters I can analyze on a day-to-day basis, weekly basis, monthly, or even a year. So thing which we thought through Probably there will be other softwares which may be looking at this, but we had a lot of thinking on this, how this we can get out of the WMS software. So, and our experience is that it is working very well. It has been giving us a very real-time information about a day-to-day performance of any employee. Going ahead, so this is, I think the slide is a little bit.
Very small. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it is like again the same tasks assigned to one employee. So whether he was assigned some task on unloading or picking or packing or inventory count, all these things, what is assigned to him, what he has performed. So at the end of the day, I can see and I can make a comparison. What has there are 10 employees in the warehouse. How the 10 has worked today, and by the overall load, I can understand that what was the load today and how these resources has performed. And one more thing is that the idea of doing this was to give them a work-life balance to the people also. So that basically in our organization, we don't want people to work more than they are working hours. Unnecessarily extending it, pushing them, we don't encourage. So we said, okay, this is what you are assigned. You complete it in that time, and then you are free to go. So there is no additional work. Okay, normal Indian scenario. आने का जाए time पक्का है, जाने का पक्का नहीं है. So this I have heard this many a time when I used to work in Mumbai, and I think many of you will know about that. So this streamlines that. This streamlines those. This covers those aspects as well. Now, I think Mr. Khader already gave us a glimpse of this, so which actually we appreciated very much, which is integrated in their WMS program, is the bird's eye view of the warehouse layout. And it exactly shows us what is lying where, what location is empty, what location is half empty. So I don't have to really go into my warehouse to check all those things. Earlier we have a system of visual checking, which is now come into an automated form. So we were very happy with that. And so in our WMS software, it is working now. And we can clearly say that the optimum use of space, that is also a very important, this is playing a very important part in the optimum usage of space. Because whether I am filling up all the spaces or I am leaving gaps in between. So this warehouse layout helps us to a great extent. And I think this screen, Mr. Khader showed live that how we can go to each of those locations and see that what is lying in there. So I will be able to even see what product is lying there, or what is the quantity lying there, what is the location of those items. So this is a very beautiful interpretation of seeing a warehouse without even going there. So I'll be able to, even in a remote scenario, I can clearly see what is happening in the warehouse. Now, just going ahead. So again, coming back to the employee performance. So basically, every organization sets some kind of an KRA KPI for those employees. But in a normal case, there isn't any kind of mechanism to measure these things, how the performance is measured. What are the backup documentation which are required? So tomorrow, if I am telling an employee that you are not performed well, so he may ask me for some evidence that how do you say that I didn't perform well? I have been doing excellent job. So then I have some performance records. So the integrated WMS practice, which gives me a very clear picture of how the employee on a day-to-day basis has performed. Not only that, that is from the employer side, I can counter him or grill him saying that you have not been performing well. At the same time, there are some very good performers in the group. So I can really identify them and say that, yeah, you have been doing a good job, and I will be able to appreciate that. Otherwise, the entire staff becomes, whether it is a horse or a donkey, I'll not be able to say the difference between them. Then there is an inbuilt mechanism, like, when the employees are able to visualize their own performance, or it is visible to them, they may compare them with others. Okay, this is my performance. How my colleague has performed. So there will be a natural curiosity, and they may compare their performance among themselves. So this will motivate them. Some of the underperformance may think that, okay, others are doing well, why I'm not doing it? So this kind of things in the schools we have seen this, how my neighbor is doing well and why I'm not doing well. So those kind of a scenario probably will go back to a school situation, and so this may motivate them. Apart from the motivation or training, people have to give again for the employees who are underperforming. So they come back again from the training table. Rather than that, this may motivate them by themselves, by their colleagues' performances. So this will help in the collecting the record and also improving the performance of the people in the organization. Now, going ahead there. So this is a rough, the performance record of in which category he has been doing well, which category he has not been doing well. So this himself will show him that how good he was in all these things, in the tasks given, how he has completed. So there are more things like, kind of, we call it an AD report, like how an error has happened, how the error has happened and all that. That analysis report is there. That still we are not completely done that. So once that stage comes, we have to integrate all those things inside this. Now going ahead, I think I come to the completion of my slides. So this is where the time which is given to me is coming to an end. So I have
you are on time.
about 3-4 minutes. So if anybody has
It's a fantastic experience working with you, Krishnan. You are so much experienced in warehouse management along with your team. It was really a tough, and our guys have really learned many things from you and your team. So that was a fantastic experience what we had, and all those things that will reflect in the product, as you said, rightly said. Thank you very much for giving you such a nice presentation and helping supply chain guys to understand the value of 3PL operations. Okay, so what do you think now? How the 3PL processes will go forward in Indian industry, at least? So how is it? As far as my knowledge goes, the 3PL operations will extremely grow faster because that's a specialty now. Okay, it cannot be done by manufacturers or any other people so efficiently as you guys do. So what do you think in next 2 to 3 years, how the 3PL and 4PL will evolve? Please, can you give brief?
Yeah, actually, see, as I mentioned earlier, Indian industry has not evolved completely because we still have a lot of traditionally managed companies running, like a family business. New startups, they may go for the automation. They may think about partnering others. They may outsource a lot of their activity, because we have one of the fashion products customer who works from their house in Indiranagar in Bangalore. They are procuring from Tirupur, storing it with us. We dispatch, they do their last mile delivery, we do everything. So they don't have anything as such. They are just operating. So those are new startups. But if we go to a traditional industry, for example, I have been to some auto component manufacturers from Tamil Nadu. It's a family business. I have been to some scientific instrument selling company, again family business. In the case of a family business, they very seldom trust others. Don't trust anybody. They think that the traditional way of doing business is the most safer way of doing it. Bringing technology into it, they are still very reluctant. Though to large extent, I mean, of course, I mean, from the time when we used to write books, that has changed into systems. So it will take a little bit of time for those industries to come into this fold and improve this part. And these service providers, like as I said, if I have a warehouse and I say that, okay, I also got a warehouse, and tomorrow I start one warehouse and I sit in front of him, okay, now from tomorrow I start storing the material. So it's not that easy as it is. There are a lot of infrastructure has to go into it, technology has to go into it. So these all need more investments. So as you very well know, we are very cost conscious. So if a customer comes and he looks at me and I am saying that I am fully integrated, this, that, and he goes to the next door and he says, okay, he is giving me at half the price. So obviously they are attracted to the other side because of our cost consciousness. So it will take a while, but we are making, and I think as a nation, I mean, our government's effort to integrate the logistics and take it up as a major business section, and the rail corridors, the highways, the connectivity in the ports. So these are all improving. So when these are all improved, definitely our other areas will improve.
Yeah,
so this
that is
business
perfect.
definitely is evolving, and as you say that I am a 3PL operator, but how much detail I am going into, how much I want to partner with other companies, how much I want to add value into their systems. So these are all indications that we also wanted to be part of the game. So it will definitely be.
Yeah, it's an evolving industry. I think it's a 3PL is only have to grow. Okay, there is no other option. So look forward. So thank you, Krishnanji. Thank you very much. Fantastic presentation, and share your real practitioners approach. Okay, so I'm sure many of our viewers will get benefit of listening to you upfront. Okay, so any questions? The presentation we'll just shoot to you to answer. So thank you very much for joining us.